outtakes, and Cosby Show trivia.
It's the ugliest shirt I've ever seen.
They made America laugh every Thursday night. A perfect family, a perfect show. But behind those iconic sweaters and sitcom one-liners lies a story Hollywood never wanted you to hear. Where are the stars of The Cosby Show now? Some vanished into obscurity. Others met tragic, untimely ends. And a few took secrets to the grave. This isn't just a reunion. This is a reckoning. Because the truth, the Huxtables weren't a family. They were actors. And their real lives, full of scandals, betrayals, and heartbreak, were nothing like the script. 17 cast members are gone forever. Tonight, we unmask their legacies. The addictions, the feuds, the shocking final moments they never saw coming. Subscribe now, before their story disappears too. Meet Earl Hyman, the man who taught America how to laugh as Cliff Huxtable's wisecracking father, Russell. But behind those twinkling eyes and perfectly timed jokes, a battle with demons the cameras never saw. Born in 1926 to a mixed-race family in North Carolina, Hyman escaped segregation's grip by fleeing to Norway. Yes, Norway, where he found solace in the icy silence. He called it his escape from America's nightmares. Acting wasn't a choice. It was my armor. And what an armor it was. By the time The Cosby Show made him a household name, Hyman was already a Broadway legend, starring in The Emperor Jones and voicing Panthro in Thundercats. But fame? It left him empty. Off-screen, Hyman wrestled with loneliness. Never married. No children. Just a tiny apartment in Oslo, where he'd whisper Shakespeare to the walls. Colleagues called him the ghost with the golden voice. On November 17th, 2017, the ghost finally left us. Earl Hyman died at 91, his body failing, but his mind razor-sharp to the end. The cause? Old age, they said. But those who knew him swore it was a broken heart. He gave us joy. But who gave him joy? Maybe that's a story even The Cosby Show couldn't fix. Clarice Taylor wasn't just playing Cliff's mother. She was the real matriarch behind the scenes. But when the cameras stopped rolling, the sweet, cookie-baking Anna Huxtable had a temper that left the cast trembling. Born in 1917, Taylor clawed her way up from Harlem's Cotton Club to Broadway, where she earned Tony nominations and a reputation as a steel fist in a velvet glove. By the time The Cosby Show cast her as Anna, she demanded respect, and got it, even if it meant screaming matches with producers. Rumors swirled. Did she feud with Bill Cosby over script changes? Did she really slap a stagehand for misplacing her chair? The network denied it, but insiders whispered Clarice ruled with fear. Yet children adored her as Sesame Street's Harriet. Ironic. The woman who played America's grandma allegedly threw a coffee cup at a PA for interrupting her nap. Her final act? A silent one. On May 30th, 2011, Taylor died at 93. Officially, heart failure. But those closest to her claimed she spent her last days raging at doctors, demanding to go home. Even in death, she refused to follow anyone's script. She taught us family comes first, but never cross a queen. Joe Williams wasn't just Cliff's poker buddy. He was a real-life blues legend who serenaded presidents and partied with Sinatra. But behind that easygoing charm, a battle with a bottle that nearly destroyed him. Born 1918, Williams rose from Chicago's smokiest jazz clubs to sing with Count Basie, earning Grammys and a reputation as the last true bluesman. But by the time The Cosby Show cast him as Al Foster, his demons were already winning. Rumors spread. Did he show up drunk to set? Did Cosby really ban alcohol from his dressing room? The network called it creative differences, but bandmates whispered Joe was drowning in plain sight. Yet on stage, he was untouchable, even performing for Reagan while battling withdrawal. The ultimate showman, even when his hands shook. His final encore? A silent one. On March 29th, 1999, Williams died at 62. Officially, kidney failure. But backstage, friends swore his last words were, "Play my song one more time." Moses Gunn played Elvin's no-nonsense father. But in real life, the actor who terrified audiences in Shaft and Roots was fighting a silent war, one that left him literally gasping for air between takes. This towering Tony-nominated actor hid his deteriorating health for years. Between scenes, as the stern Dr. Foster, Gunn would collapse in his dressing room, sucking oxygen from a tank the crew kept hidden. The shocking truth? Gunn filmed his Cosby Show episodes while suffering from hypereosinophilic syndrome, a rare disease slowly suffocating him. But he refused rewrites, even when scripts called for him to yell, until his lungs bled. This was the man who brought Kunta Kinte's whip scars to life, now barely able to stand through a sitcom scene. The industry called it professionalism. His doctors called it suicide. On December 16, 1993, just days after filming his final episode, Gunn suffocated to death at 64. The official cause? Complications from asthma. The reality? He sacrificed his last breaths to keep America laughing. He taught Elvin about tough love, but who was tough enough to love him through the pain? Michelle Thomas made America fall in love with Theo's sweetheart, Justine, while secretly fighting the clock on her own heartbreaking fairy tale. At just 23, while filming those adorable scenes with Malcolm Jamal Warner, Thomas was already stage 4. The stomach cramps producers dismissed as nerves. That was a rare, aggressive cancer eating her alive between takes. The cruel twist? Her young and restless character was also battling cancer. For 12 hours a day, she'd play a sick woman, then vomit blood in her trailer from the real thing. She hid it all. The morphine shots in her thigh between scenes. The wigs covering chemo bald patches. Even when the pain made her black out, she'd beg, "Just let me finish this episode." On December 22nd, 1998, 3 days after Christmas shopping for kids at Sloan Kettering, Michelle Thomas died at 30. The disease that started in her stomach had reached her heart. She gave Theo his happy ending, while hers played in fast forward. When Roscoe Lee Brown stepped in as Elvin's father, no one warned audiences they were watching Hollywood's most elegant time bomb, and the Cosby set would never be the same. This wasn't just a recast, it was a reckoning. After Moses Gunn's death, Brown took over as Dr. Foster and immediately declared war. On the scripts, on the directors, and especially on Bill Cosby. Witnesses say Brown, a Juilliard legend, would rewrite his dialogue in iambic pentameter during takes. When producers complained, he performed their notes, in the style of King Lear, to humiliate them. The final straw? When Cosby reportedly told him to tone down the theatrics, Brown showed up next episode wearing full Othello makeup. They settled his contract that night. On April 11, 2007, Brown died at 81, not from drama, but cancer. His last words? Finally, a role I won't be recast in, even in death. The King of Shade had the last laugh. He didn't just play Elvin's father. He gave TV its most gloriously petty villain. Adolph Caesar wasn't just playing a strict teacher. He was channeling the ghosts of Vietnam every time he raised his voice. And when those war demons came knocking during his Cosby episode, the entire set became a battlefield. This Tony-nominated actor brought raw intensity to his Cosby Show guest spot, until a slam-prop door triggered his PTSD. Witnesses say Caesar dropped to the ground, screaming for medics as the crew stood frozen. The network edited out the incident, but couldn't erase the aftermath. Caesar began carrying a flask of vodka to calm his nerves, leading to explosive arguments with Cosby about professionalism that got him banned from NBC for years. This was the man who earned an Oscar nomination for playing a raging sergeant, now struggling through a sitcom scene about report cards. The industry called it method acting. His therapist called it a breakdown. On March 6, 1986, just months after filming his episode, Caesar collapsed on a New York street from a massive heart attack. He was 52. The official cause? Cardiac arrest. The VA doctors knew better. This was a war casualty 15 years delayed. He disciplined Theo for failing grades, while America failed its veterans. When Phyllis Human graced the Huxtable living room with that velvet voice, America heard perfection but no one listened to the scream hiding in every note. That 1986 performance wasn't just a cameo. It was her final broadcast before the darkness won. While the audience clapped, Hyman was secretly scribbling suicide notes between takes, leaving them in her dressing room for the crew to find after filming. The signs were all there. Her slurred words dismissed as artistic temperament. The way she clutched the piano for balance. Even when she forgot lyrics mid-scene, they just edited around it. Because the show had to go on. Even if the star was dying inside. Even if she'd already chosen her exit. On June 30th, 1995, 9 years after that Huxtable performance, Phyllis Hyman swallowed a lethal cocktail of pills and vodka in her apartment. She left the stereo playing her own music. The ultimate encore. She gave America one last perfect take, then took herself out of the picture. Gloria Foster wasn't just playing a strict teacher. She was a two-time Obie winner, sacrificing her failing body for one last lesson. And what happened next left the Cosby crew in tears. This was no act. While filming her iconic classroom showdown with Denise, Foster's diabetes had already stolen 80% of her eyesight. She memorized lines by touch, using Denise's face as a blurry anchor, all while hiding for bruises under that prim blouse. The shocking truth: she turned down morphine to stay sharp for the take. When her sugar crashed mid-scene, she licked candy bar residue off her palms rather than call cut. The performance of a lifetime, literally. This was the woman who'd later mentor Neo, now blindly trusting a teenage actress to guide her. Hollywood called it professionalism. Her doctors called it Russian roulette. On September 29, 2001, 13 years after that unforgettable scene, Foster died at 64. The official cause? Diabetes complications. The Cosby script supervisor's private note? She left her eyesight in classroom 304. She demanded excellence, even as her body betrayed her. Johnny Brown made generations laugh as Good Times bookman. But when The Cosby Show cast him as Theo's guidance counselor, nobody knew the veteran comic was secretly counseling himself through hell. This wasn't just another role, it was survival. Broke from divorce and blacklisted after daring to criticize TV racism. Brown took the Cosby gig just to pay for his daughter's cancer treatments, while battling his own demons. The shocking truth? That warm counselor's office was his first air-conditioned workplace in years. While filming scenes advising Theo about college, Brown was actually sleeping in his car between shoots. America remembered him dancing with Jimmy Walker, but forgot him begging for bit parts. That iconic Cosby sweater? The only clean shirt he owned. On March 2nd, 2022, 30 years after his last Huxtable scene, Brown died at 84. Officially natural causes. But those last photos of his empty medicine cabinet told the real story. He taught Theo to follow his dreams, while his own turned to dust. They made us laugh. They made us cry. They built a television family that felt more real than our own. But behind the scenes, these actors were fighting battles the cameras never saw. Addictions, affairs, illnesses, Hollywood politics, broken dreams. Some won, some lost. All paid a price for that perfect Huxtable smile. This isn't just about how they died, it's about how they lived. The rage beneath Roscoe Lee Brown's elegance. The pain behind Michelle Thomas's grin. The revolution in Clarice Taylor's knitting needles. Asterisk, the truth? There are no perfect families. Not even on TV. Subscribe now, because history deserves more than reruns.